Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are reacting to episode 23 of series 2 of Apothecary Diaries. And if you notice something a little bit different, I am standing up today because I felt like a change, and I have a standing desk, and I never use the standing desk. So I thought, I wonder how it'll look for filming it. So it might look a little weird. I might not continue to film standing up. I also have a fiber cloth because I suspect that this episode and the next episode are going to be very emotional. And I'm probably going to cry. And I don't want to cry, but I don't feel like I have much of a choice. And if it's anything like the last two episodes of series 1, they're going to be very highly emotional. So what we do know is that the children are not dead. And I'm still really, really angry at myself for it taking me so long to catch on. The kids aren't dead. They're going through what Sure went through, which is that immortality potion, which isn't an immortality potion. It's basically like an anesthetic. So they're knocked out. Mao Mao's task is to stay with them and to make sure that their bodies aren't cremated and burned, because obviously that would kill them. So she needs to stay with them so that she can help, I guess, guide them away when they wake up. And when she says, let's pull one last trick, is the one last trick them all pretending to have died by drinking poison and that they're not actually dead, but the army thinks they're dead and then they can like leave and be free? I don't know. I'm not sure. But there's one last trick that Shisui mentioned to her father that they should pull. So I'm not quite sure what that refers to, but I'm sure we will see in this episode, especially because the army is inside and Mao Mao finally knows who Jinshi is, and her lackluster reaction is just so typical Mao Mao. She's just like, "You're younger than I thought you were." It's like, Mao Mao, is that all you have to say in this moment? Yes, but I am really sad that we only have one more episode after this, and then we are finished with Apothecary Diaries till October. But I do have the light novels. I will be reading them, just not yet, because I have so many other books to read, and a few people have been asking me to kind of maybe do more book content, but I don't know how I would do that, to be honest, because like I'm not the fastest of readers. But I am reading this monster at the minute, but I have so many books I need to read, so I'm going to hold off on reading Apothecary Diaries for the time being, because I don't think I'd be able to hold myself back. And that's my worry, is that I won't hold myself back, and then I don't think you guys will want to watch my react videos if I've read the light novels. Or maybe you will, because I can compare them to the light novels. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm not going to ramble. I think we're just going to get straight into it, because everything I am going to say here is most likely what I've said in the last episode. So I kind of will just be repeating myself. So I feel like we should just launch straight in to this episode. God, he looks so handsome.
バゼ、あまり気を張るな。では、私を先に行かせてください。
He doesn't want you to be in harm's way.
待て、下がる。
Oh, they've got the fifers.
くそだ。
They've all gone.
どこにいる？
Where are they?
知らない。私たちは騙されていただけだ。横領、反逆の罪で拘束する。
金軍が来ているのです。勅命が下っているのは分かっていますよ。
暴力したか、火種もないのに。捨てろ。
It's reinforced. They don't need it. Holy shit.
最新型だ。火種がなくても発砲できる。
Oh
ご存
no.
知でしたな。
実際に襲われたからな。
あれは惜しかった。あなたき仕留めていれば。
But he's taking full responsibility.
これで終わりか。
But why do I feel like there's more to it?
用意されたセリフを読んでいるよ。
This is part of the trick, isn't it? Because, like, why would you just walk in with the fifer in hand, show what the fifer can do, admit if you'd only been successful in killing him, you could have got away with it? It's all a little bit sus. And Jinshi knows that because he's like, sounds like he's prepared a script. Yes, he obviously has. No!
Mare まるで師匠という男の舞台を見ているような気分だ。
I didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't that. I think I thought he was gonna maybe drop like a smoke bomb or something and there'd be like a secret passage that he could get through. I didn't expect that he would actually be there as like the sacrificial lamb. But again, this is part of him taking responsibility, but at the same time, how is this pulling a trick? I don't get it. I'm sure it'll make more sense, but like, is part of pulling a trick requires Shishu dying in order for everyone else to survive? So perhaps Shisui knows that everyone is most likely going to die anyway, but she's tried to save the children, but maybe she's accepted the fact that like her family is going to die and she's not exempt from that. So she has accepted her own death, but as well as her family's. And her father also knows that he can't get out of this. So he's accepting his death, but Shisui could be planning something further. This is just one aspect of the trick because he's reciting almost like a script. He's in the spotlight, all eyes on him, everyone's watching him. Jinshi makes the comment that it sounds like an actor on a stage. This is a presentation. This is an act for something, for a greater purpose. I think Shisui knows that she is not exempt from being executed, and this is part of her plan to play one last trick. And what that could mean is setting the stage for Shisui's final act before her own death. Maybe. I don't know. I do love that we got to see an actual image of Shenmei as a young woman because we've only ever seen her from the back. So when she went to the rear palace, we knew all that, but we've only ever seen her from the back. And then we've seen her as like the older version. So we've never seen just how young and vivacious and full of life she was. Whereas the Shenmei that we see now is not the same woman that Shishu fell in love with. But Shishu still evidently loves her. He still evidently remembers this woman that he fell in love with and who he would have done anything for, even obeying the emperor's order to marry his banished daughter so he could get her back. But the Shenmei that returned is jaded, bitter, vengeful. It's not the same woman, and that is the catalyst for everything that's to come. And Shishu went along with it because he feels guilt. He feels as if he did betray her. He's trying to atone and earn her forgiveness by doing all of this for her. But look at how much pain and suffering it's caused. I feel sorry for Shishu to some extent, but I still think he's a very weak-willed man, and that a lot of his excuses for turning a blind eye to what was happening at home are exactly that, excuses. I don't think he could completely ignore the treatment that Sure was receiving. He wasn't at the palace all the time. Yes, he probably didn't see the extent of the bullying and the mistreatment by Shenmei, but he would have seen glimpses of it, and that glimpses of that resentment and that anger and that jealousy and that rage, enough that any other person would just kind of go, oh, something's not right here. But with him, I think his guilt makes him almost paralyzed. Like he doesn't act because he feels like if he can do this for Shenmei, she'll forgive him and she'll return to being the girl that she used to be and everything will be fine and they'll be happy. But look at what she's done to her daughter, your daughter, and you just allowed her to do it. You knew that Lolam was being puppeteered by Shenmei to be turned into this woman like Shenmei currently is, not like she used to be, who she currently is, and you didn't do anything. So, like, my sympathy only goes so far for Shishu. I feel bad to the extent that he feels like he's to blame for Shenmei's behavior, for who Shenmei became. I don't think that's the case. I think there were other factors that came into play that we'll probably find out, because if we've seen a visage of Shenmei as younger, we're probably going to learn more about Shenmei's background. And, he's allowed Shenmei to do all of this because of his guilt. But at the same time, this is still the man that procured young girls for the emperor, knowing his interests. This was still the man that allowed Shenmei to mistreat his former wife and his daughter. This is also the man that allowed her to mistreat his daughter with Shenmei. And this is also the man that said, "Oh, well, I didn't know the extent of what was going on because I was at the palace a lot." But I don't think that's a valid excuse. I really don't. I think he likely did see things, but he just ignored it. And as he said, all this hedonistic stuff that Shenmei was doing, corrupting young, virtuous women and mothers from the Shi clan by turning them into like degenerates for her own pleasure and her own amusement. He knew that was happening because he was next door a lot of the time when she was doing it. So a lot of his excuses are excuses, but this is him finally taking responsibility. And part of his responsibility is offering himself up to be killed. But I think it's also setting the stage for maybe a bigger plan. He's taking responsibility, but to what extent? Because we know the Taniki nature, it's tricky. And there's a greater plot ongoing still. It's not over. It's not over.
先帝の時代からの長身であり反逆者。あっけないといえばあっけない。そんな最後だった。
バーン。
どうだ。
ごきげんよう、月の君。
Oh, she's hiding in the walls and she's got him alone.
水霊姉様、もうひどいことはされていませんか？
これが水霊。大胆な女だと思っていたが。
No. He's seen the true extent.
お母様の望みを叶えるためについてきてもらいました。ずっと憎んでいたのでしょう。この姿によく似たお方を。自分よりずっと美しいことに嫉妬していたのでしょうか。
It's because he looks like the previous emperor who snubbed her.
上級妃であったお母様のネアに
I said all this not about
少
Jinshi,
し冗談が過ぎまし
but
た。
about her reasons for being so malicious and bitter.
30年以上も前の話です。
But it was because she was
先帝は母親に逆らえる
snubbed.
暗愚な皇帝でした。女帝はいつまでも女に興味を見せぬ息子にしびれを切らし、高級にどんどん美女を送り込みました。
高級に入るって本当なのか？
ええ、上級妃としてぜひにと。
Oh, so she was one of the 4 high ranking.
わからない？これは高貴なのよ。高級でこうなせば、皇后の座も夢ではないわ。
So she snubbed him for this opportunity.
終わってたまるものですか。
Wow. After how much he loved her, she's like, yeah, fuck you. I can get power and control. I said all this. I said all this. I said that it was due to the fact that she was snubbed. She clearly wanted power. She clearly wanted authority. She clearly wanted control. And she thought that she could get all that by becoming Empress Dowager. But he didn't pay attention to her because she was too old and not part of his sexual interest. So he turned his attention to her servant, who was a child, who was younger, and they had a baby. So she's angry, she's bitter, and then she returns home, probably thinks, well, I can just pick up with Shishu, who's made himself powerful, because she says, oh, I can't just waste my life with like a lord in the north. But he made himself powerful. He made himself a person of consequence, probably to impress Shenmei so that he could get her back. He probably did all that so that he could have Shenmei as his wife and be someone that she was proud of. And it just didn't work because she was still so consumed by anger and rage that the emperor would overlook her. So we have Shishu, poor Shishu. Again, I keep saying poor Shishu. He's still not a good person, but I feel like in this show, there's a lot of that where it's, someone who has done some horrible things because they've been hurt in the past is just a reoccurring theme. Hurt people, hurt people. So I can feel sorry for Shishu on one hand and then also think he's an asshole on the other. Swings and roundabouts, you know? It's a bit like how I felt sorry for the previous emperor, but also was like, he's a nonce, you know? Like, he's not a good person, but I can still feel sorry for the trauma and experiences that he went through. So obviously, Shishu has done all this for Shenbei, has made himself a person of consequence, has inserted himself into the rear palace as a favorite to the empress so that he could stay near Shenmei, he could be close to her and hopefully ask for her back one day. That's very heavily what's being implied here. And none of it mattered because she's still angry that she didn't get to achieve this golden opportunity that she felt was hers by right. And we kind of saw this already if we think back to Shin. Shin thought that in becoming a concubine, she could also gain the emperor's favor. And it was never about loving the emperor, being loyal or obedient to him. It was about power. And she resented Li Hua because Li Hua was chosen over her. So we've already seen this kind of play out. There's bitterness and resentment and how it festers and manifests with the women in the clinic who were deflowered by the previous emperor and never allowed to leave, by Shin resenting Li Hua for becoming a high ranking. We also saw it with Jin, who was bitter that she wasn't having the emperor's attention and was hellbent on taking it out on lower ranking concubines by poisoning them. She even is rumored to have potentially tried to poison Gyokyu. We don't know if she was the one, but everyone seems to think it was her. So all of that now culminates as the foreshadowing to Shenmei and her anger and resentment and her lingering, festering anger towards Jinshi, who looks like the previous emperor. But poor Jinshi, he hasn't done anything to deserve it other than genetics. It's not his fault, but yeah, it also links back to the elderly woman from the clinic when she looked at Jinshi, was like, oh my god, you look like him, exactly like him. And then now it's coming to this, that her anger and want to completely get rid of him entirely is because of who he looks like. You can't help that he's ethereal and beautiful. Not his fault.
息子の上級妃として取り立てたい。でもそれは表向きの話だったのです。
表向き？何を言っているのローラン。私は上級妃として壊れて。
娘を人質に取られては何もできぬと。
Oh!
交換の娘を妃と称して人質に取ることはよくあること
He
でしょ
couldn't move against them. It was a power
お
ploy.
父様はお母様のことを一度は諦めました。
A bit like how I thought they took Mao Mao to keep Lacan under control.
師匠が女帝をそそのかしたと話に聞く。
ええ、新しい公共事業として高級の拡大を提言したそうです。
So that he could get Shenmei back.
娘を人質に取られた死の一族は家業であった奴隷交易を縮小せざるを得ません
It's
でし
how
た。
they made their money.
そんな時、困り果てたおじい様にお父様が進言したそうです。
残った奴隷たちの行く先として高級を利用してはいかがですか。
確かに娘を売った家族も他国に売られるより高級に預けられる方が罪悪感も減るな。
ええ、誰にとっても益になる話かと。
Including him, because he can maybe get Shenmei back.
ることにより死の一族の信用と人質のお母様を取り戻そうとしたのです。
I love that she figured it all out, but her mother never could.
師匠、一体どうやって？
抜け道を作った。
Through the secret path. He built
私
it
と逃げない
for
か。
her.
君が望むなら一緒に逃げよう。
She chose not to go.
私は君を諦められなかった。
He
自
really
分以外の
loved
妻
her.
に迎えることもできずに、また会いたいとここまで。
That's why she's so angry with him. Because he said, I couldn't see myself having any wife but you. So then when she does finally return to him and he has a wife, she feels as if she's once again been betrayed. Shenmei is not a good person, but she very much is a victim of the societal system. She was sent to the rear palace under this guise of it being a golden opportunity, but rather she was only sent for in order to become a hostage. So her father couldn't work against them, couldn't continue to operate his slave trade. She was held there to reduce her family's influence and power, essentially, because they can't do anything that would risk her life. She wasn't aware of that. It was sold to her as something luxurious, something that very few people get the pleasure of achieving. And she bought into that idea, much like Shin did. And we all know how that turned out. And then when she goes to the rear palace, she gets the option to leave with Shishu, but she doesn't go because she's either still consumed with this idea of becoming the empress and having that power and status, or she doesn't want to risk Shishu's life and her family's life in the process, because we know that it is a traitorous act for a high-ranking concubine to leave the rear palace. They can't leave. So I think she didn't want to potentially risk it for Shishu, but also for herself. But then when she does eventually get returned to the man that has done all this for her, built this secret path, has proposed sending leftover slaves to the rear palace in order to expand it so that the emperor has more access to women, but it also means he doesn't pay attention to Shenmei, leaving Shenmei untouched, meaning Shenmei could be returned to him in the future because she isn't deflowered. So it was part of a grander scheme, a grander plot to ensure that they could eventually be together. But then we also know the emperor approached him and is like, "You're a close confidant and I can trust you. I want you to marry my daughter." And he agreed to it solely on the basis of having Shenmei returned to him. So again, he only did it for Shenmei, but Shenmei doesn't see it that way because he's obviously saying, "I can't see myself marrying anyone but you." And she's like, "Am I worth that much to you?" And he's like, "Of course." And when she returns, he's married to someone else and she thinks that he lied to her. He's another man that's lied to her, another man that's betrayed her. She's been used by Shishu, she's been used by her family to become a high ranking concubine. She's been used by all these men in this system where she has been powerless to prevent it all. And that's why she's so consumed with this idea of putting her daughter on the throne, having her daughter become the empress, having her daughter become the next mother royal, and securing that dynasty through her family line because she wants revenge. She wants to show them that she is worth something, that she is more powerful than they ever gave her credit for. I think it very much ties into this idea of women weaponizing power in any way they can in order to make themselves feel less inferior, because obviously the power dynamics are skewed in favor of men and women are very much bound to what their fathers say and dictate. So I think this is her way of trying to reverse that power dynamic by utilizing her husband, weaponizing his guilt for her own means, then weaponizing her own daughter for her to become a high ranking and to sit on the throne so that this power and authority and control goes back to the She clan and she gets her revenge well and truly. She gets to exert her power on all those that have made her feel powerless. Again, hurt people hurt people. Shenmei's not a good person. She doesn't deserve to be forgiven, but we can acknowledge that she is a victim of this system of unequal power dynamics, that she has done what was within her ability and her power to get her revenge, to establish herself. Doesn't make it right, of course. I'm not saying that it does, but I'm saying it very much is a core theme of the show, is looking at the way in which women have been disadvantaged in this historical time frame and the different ways that they clamber for power in any way that they can in order to not be disempowered, in order to have some control and authority over their own lives, especially when their lives are very much dictated to by men, such as their fathers or their husbands, or as a concubine, the emperor himself. It is women trying to find a way to empower and gain some substance in a world that is dominated and ruled by men. It doesn't mean that what they're doing is correct, but we can at least acknowledge that this system of inequality and gender dichotomy is what creates scenarios like this, where a woman like Shenmei, who is hurt and angry and traumatized and feels used and feels like she's been lied to and tricked by all the men in her life, leverages that by weaponizing her husband's guilt and using it as a way to exert her revenge and power. Because in this world, her husband is the power. He is the one that is respected and his name means something. Hers doesn't, because he is the authority. He is the head of their household. She has authority insofar as she can command servants, she can command the guard and those within the She clan, but not to the same extent as Shishu. His word would overpower hers. But if she can overpower her husband, if she can puppeteer him, then she is the true force. And I did say this a couple of episodes back. I wondered if Shishu was being puppeteered by someone who was more domineering, who was a woman, because it would tie back again into how the previous emperor was puppeteered by his mother, who was the true ruling force, the true power behind it all. And it's eerily similar. Shishu is being weaponized and used by Shenmei for her advantage, her gain. But it's not necessarily something he wants to do, but it's what he feels like he has to do to make Shenmei forgive him, because he wants them to have the life they've always wanted to have. It's incredibly tragic.
あの方が次女の逮捕に先を越された上級妃。今でも一度もお通いがないみたいよ。
ふざけないで。この私に恥をかいたまま逃げろというの。
Yeah. Societal stigma has made her decide to stay and be unhappy.
あんな男など信用できるわけがないだろう。父様が倒れてすぐに家督を継ぎ、この女の母親などめとった男を。
Because the emperor told him to. Did he ever tell you that?
それは法皇のかんざし。
ええ、お母様もご存知でしょ。こ
It's
れ
from
を
her
身に
mother.
つけられる者は、キリンの一生と同じく、
It's a member of the royal family.
嘘よ。先帝は認めていなかったはず。
He did to Shishu, though.
たびたびお父様の手引きで顔を出していたそうですよ。
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't realize he actually came to see his
自分の
daughter
娘だと理解していた。お父様はお母様の次女
on
と
the basis that
先帝
Shenmei
の間に
would
で
be
きた娘
returned.
を妻に迎えました。やがて二人の間には子が生まれました。
止水と名付けました。
止水。死の一族にふさわしい名だ。
主上、私の望みを叶えてくださると。
Return Shenmei.
上級妃の宣明を可視していただけませんか。
死を冠した孫を見て、先帝は安心されたようです。もう人質を取る必要はないと。こうして、お母様は可視されたのですよ。
Shenmei really didn't know any of this. God damn.
手前勝手な頼みが師匠や自分の娘の人生にどれだけ影
Yeah.
響するかも分かっていなかった。
But Shishu should have suspected that this wasn't going to go well, and
ずっとお父様はお母様
I
の
guess
た
he
め
was
にやってき
naive.
たのに。
He
破
did.
滅しかない最後だと分かっていたのに。
But what did Shishu expect? That Shenmei would just accept it all and be happy? To be a mistress? Like, what?
あの男は自分の権力が欲しかっただけ。
No.
私をめとったのも当主としての座を誇示したかったからよ。
No, that's
で
not
も
true.
結局一族内でお父様よりも幅を利かせ
He
てい
did
たの
all
はお母
this for
様
you
でしょ。
because it's what you wanted.
コビオール一族の者たちが宮中で何をしていたかご存知でしたか。彼らは賄賂や横領を繰り返し、苦言を呈するまともな者は追い出され、残るは海ばかり。お父様は自ら国賊を演じることで、死の一族の海もろとも破滅するつもりだったのです。人士様、お父様はタヌキと呼ばれていましたけど、タヌキって本当は臆病な生き物なのです。だからこそ、懸命に相手を化かそうとするんです。
I did wonder if he was actually more mild-mannered.
師匠は国の腐敗を一手に集める必要悪を演じていた。報われ
Oh,
ないな。
ちゃんとお父様は、敵役を演じきれましたか。
to get rid of them all. What the fuck?
宮廷内に溜まった海は、これでだいぶ処分できたでしょう。
Oh, wow, that's so clever.
お前はあの男と一緒にずっと私を騙
So
して
he
いたのか。
wasn't just a
私はお母
puppet.
様の言う通りにやってきただけです。
Wow, they
こ
were
んな国
both
など滅
working
びてしま
against
えば
her
いいと言っていたで
ambitions.
はないですか。還元を吐くアホばかりを囲って金軍に勝てると本当に思っていたのですか。
ほら、へい、うるさい。何がおかしい。
There's no gunpowder, is
お
there?
母様、まるで小物なんですもの。
Did it backfire? What the fuck happened?
私は悪い娘ですね。
中に詰め物をしていたのか。
新型は構造が複雑なんです。
Holy shit! She's so smart.
伝えたいことがあったんだろ
顔だけのバカなら本当に良かったのに。お母様、お父様が死んだんですよ。涙の一つくらいこぼしてください。ずっとお母様を待ち続けていたんですよ。
And this is what you did to him.
う。もっと違う方法はなかったのか。
No, I think so long as Shenmei was
で
alive,
も私たちは
this
それ
would
ほど
never
賢
stop.
くないのです。
シェンメイは自分を苔にし続けた国を滅ぼしたかった。師匠はシェンメイのために何でもしたが、同
But
時
in
に
the
国
end,
のことも見捨てられない中心だった。
he tried to stop it before it went too far. Oh, we misjudged Shishu, didn't we? Is it a suicide
本当は
note?
それをネタに命乞いするつもりだったん
No,
ですけ
she's
ど、
gonna kill
うま
herself,
くい
isn't
きませ
she?
んでしたね。そこに書いてあるのは、今後この国に起こりうることで、一つ目の願いです。一族でまともな思考の者は、母に追放され名を捨てております。姉もまた同じようなものです。
Let them
そ
live.
の者たちは、一度死んだ者として見逃していただけませんでしょうか。
努力する。
では、一度死んだ者は見逃してくださるのですね。ありがとうございます。
Including the children, because they've died once.
では、もう一つの願いを。ありがとうございます。お母様、これが私にできる精一杯な。私もお父様以上の役者になれるかしら。
It's so beautiful. Oh, it's because he'll have to shoot her because she attacks the crown prince. They want them to think she's mad and insane, that she tried to assassinate him, and that she's holding him hostage. God. God, it's so beautiful.
いや、できなかった。世紀の悪女の一世一代の舞台。
It ends with
殺
her.
すことなんてできない。目をそらすこともできなかった。
Oh no.
震えて泣いてるあなたが笑えるまで。
それがローランを見た最後だった。体が重い。そういえばここ数日まともに寝ていない。
I don't even know what to say. I don't think I said anything.
死んだ死の一族の子供たちです。
なぜこんなところで眠っ
To stop anyone from
どう
burying
しても
them.
頼み込まれたら何も言えないでしょう。
俺の顔に傷がついたことで部下が罰を受けるのは分かっていた。
But he still allowed it.
ローランの願いを受け入れてしまった。それにしても軍師殿がここにいなくて正解だったな。
If he saw Mao Mao, he'd be so angry. Oh.
何をやっているのでしょう人士様
Caught red-handed.
あれは
So in the end, Shishu didn't want any of this to happen. He was doing it, but then he gathered everyone here to be able to take them all out, to get rid of the rot that was in the palace that was working against it because he was loyal to the end. We misjudged him so much. He really was loyal to the end. Oh my god. And she was too, but we kind of knew that. We knew that everything she was doing was for her people, for the ones she cared about. She didn't want to be a scheme in her mother's plan. And she made that very evident. So I think Shishu was more of the surprise because we have been given this perception of him. And as she's saying, like, Tanakis, they are tricky by nature, but they're also very shy, which is why they trick people. It was easy for him to be this bad person to deflect from who the true evil was. But before it got too far, he had to get rid of all the rot. He had to get rid of Shenmei's closest allies that were trying to bring it all down, essentially. He couldn't allow it to happen. He was loyal. Jinshi knew that was going to be the outcome, knew that somebody would see the mark on his face and presumed that she was holding him hostage, that she was this great evil, which is why she said, I hope my acting is as good as my dad's, because that's what she wanted. She wanted to go out on her own terms. It was just really hard to see Surei staring at her sister and wanting to reach out to her, wanting to grasp on and hold her, but their hands just miss as she's going down. She's smiling because she's not Lolan in that moment. She's Shisui. She's who she always wanted to be. She's now free from the burden of being Lolan. And that glint in the bush, right? That has to be the hairpin because she had Jinshi's hairpin on her and it was like tucked in the sash. So when Jinshi says that was the last time I ever saw Lolan, is that because the story is that Lolan's dead, but Lolan isn't dead because the bullet maybe hit off the pin? Because if the pin is there and she fell, surely that person walking would see a body, which is making me think, is she dead? Or is this playing into when Lolan dies, Shisui rises? Which I brought up in a previous episode, because the great evil that's been shot is Lolan, but what rises in the place of Lolan is Shisui. She gets free from the burden of responsibility to the Shi clan. And then there's also the mention of people that have already died once. Can they be exempt? Can they be free of being condemned? So if she's died once and has risen, technically she would also be classed as exempt because she has received that promise from Jinshi. And I know it's in relation to the servants that were cast out that basically died a societal death in that they were demoted and mistreated because they didn't go along with Shenmei, but they wouldn't be punished in turn because they've died once. But could this also then be a hint that Lolan's not dead? I don't know. It seems odd. It seems strange. It was really emotional and the dance scene was absolutely stunning. The animation, flawless. But I just don't think she's dead in terms of the fact that we know Tanakis are tricky by nature. So it would tie back into this whole one last performance, one last act that she can pull the wool over everyone's eyes, and to everyone they see her as being dead, but she's not, because she will rise as Shisui and take on and live her life as Shisui and be who she's always wanted to be. I think that has to be it, because we didn't see a body, and I'm kind of running with the theory that if we don't see a body, is she dead? And the fact that Jinshi says that was the last time I ever saw Lolan, but we know that she has two identities. So just because that was the last time you ever saw Lolan doesn't mean that it's the last time Shisui was seen. I know you could put it down to Jinshi only knows her as Lolan, he doesn't know her as Shisui, but we do. So I feel like that could be potentially a hint that she might not be dead, that she's going to live as Shisui and be true to herself without the burden and pressure of her family and its connection. Because that silver glint has to be the pin. But theoretically, if she goes back and gets the pin, because there keeps being this mention of like selling the pin, like Shisui made the joke of like, are you sure you want to give me this? Because who says I'll return it? I might just sell it. And Mama was like, I don't care. So what if that was hinting that Shisui may actually have survived and she'll sell the pin to set up her new life away from all of this, away from the Shi clan, away from the burden of what her family has done. But if so, it's just really sad that Surei thinks her sister's dead. If she has survived, but that's probably for the best because she wouldn't want to potentially be hunted down by anyone still angry at what her family did, and that it's best to just cut all ties in order to establish herself and her freedom. But I don't know. There's so much kind of foreshadowing and hinting that she hasn't actually died in the sense that we think she has, that Lolan has died, but Shisui hasn't. I hope I'm making sense. I'm trying to like connect it back to like earlier moments of foreshadowing, like the selling of the pin. There's been a few mentions of that. Jinshi mentioned it to Mao Mao, like, oh, I'm surprised you haven't sold it. And then Shisui said to Mao Mao, oh, I might just sell it. And then there's also the fact that she smiles when she's falling because in that moment she's not Lolan. Lolan's the one that got shot. Shisui's the one that's smiling as she's falling back. So she's taken back the role of Shisui. She's taken back that identity because it's the same smile that she gave to Mao Mao when Mao Mao called her Shisui. And there's also this whole concept of let's play one last trick. Her father was part of that. Then she tricked her mother by blocking the Pfeiffer so the Pfeiffer would backfire and end her mother's life. And I think this final act, this staged performance, is so that they would shoot her and believe that she has died. And then she rises as Shisui and is no longer connected to the Shi clan. She has died a first death and has risen, and therefore she is exempt because that's what she made Jinshi promise. And it wasn't in relation to her, it was in relation to others, but it still counts for her. Or maybe she did intend to die, but then didn't actually die and was shocked when she woke up because there's so much snow that if she had fallen, there would have been a blanket because there was the avalanche. So it wasn't as if it was a great height, and also it kind of would have cushioned because it's freshly powdered snow. I don't know much about snow, but maybe that would have blunted the drop. Or maybe she's dead and they just didn't show us a body. But I think there's too much foreshadowing for her to be dead, for her to be gone. I do love that we got Shenmei's backstory, but it is sad that even in the end, she didn't cry for Shishu. After everything he did for her, she was truly so blinded by her hatred and anger and need for revenge that she couldn't even cry for the man that did all this for her, that only wanted to be with her, that only got to the position that he was in because he wanted to get her back. He wanted to be worthy of her. He concocted all of this for her, and she can't even cry for him. She can't even cry for the man because she didn't know. But that's the true tragedy, is that she thought he had betrayed her and everything he did was for her. And she was so consumed with societal expectations, with being shamed and looked down on because the emperor slept with her servant and had a child with the servant but didn't touch her, and she's never had a nightly visit with him, that she can't trust Shishu. She can't suffer the talk and rumor and gossip that would emerge if she ran away with him and the consequences. He was willing to risk it all, but she wasn't. But in the end, he was always loyal to the emperor and his family. And we learned that by the fact that he wanted to gather everyone here to get the rot out. Oh, what an episode. I already feel emotionally drained, and I've got a few other things to film. I don't know how this is going to go today, but I don't think she's dead. I don't think she's dead. I might be gaslighting myself because I don't want to believe it, but I think there's just too much foreshadowing for her to be completely gone. I think next episode we're going to obviously see these kids come back and there's going to be maybe a bit of intimacy. Not the intimacy that we want, because I think we all want to kiss, but I don't think they're going to give us that. I think they're going to have like a near moment and then they're going to be like interrupted or something. And then we're going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then that's going to make us want to watch series 3 to see if they actually do kiss. I have a feeling that's how they're going to go with it because it's a slow burn. They're not just going to give us a kiss in series 2, especially when there's like 15 books that they have to make an anime of. Like, it's not going to happen, guys. It's not. I'm going to be really mad about it, but it's not going to happen. And I think we'll actually see Mao Mao get introduced to the new baby prince that Gyokyu had while she was away. And maybe we'll also see Lumen established back into the royal rear palace. Maybe they'll give him the option. It'd be interesting to see if he would stay or if he would want to return back to the Pleasure District. I don't know. Maybe he would stay because he's very good at what he does and he's experienced and he can help these women. And now that there's no threat towards these babies being born, we might see the Emperor's brood grow. But yeah, it will be definitely fascinating as well to see what happens to Sure, because Sure's kind of been, what's the word I'm looking for? She's not really been punished, even though she's been part of it, because I think Jinshi recognizes what she's gone through, that she's also an unwilling participant in all this, but she's also of imperial blood. So I think there's definitely intrigue there because they are cousins, Jinshi and her, because he's the Emperor's son, but Sure would be the Emperor's niece. And I think there's going to definitely be some interesting conversations that emerge, but Jinshi probably thinks that he's her uncle because he believes himself to be the Emperor's younger brother. So it's all such a strange family dynamic. I know what I'm saying, but I don't know if it's making sense. It was definitely a roller coaster, but I don't think she's dead. I don't. I think she's alive. I'm gonna gaslight myself. That's fine. Delulu is the Solulu until I see a body. If I don't see a body, I don't believe a character is dead. And I've come to learn that with anime. If there's no body, there's always a chance they survived. So I'm going to be Delulu for the time being. I loved last episode, the dancing of Shisui and the emotional intensity was just absolutely stunning. That animation really took my breath away. I had goosebumps. I don't think I've ever really had goosebumps before. And the music was absolutely stunning. And I think it was just this realization that everything that Shisui has done has been to ensure that her family isn't successful in their coup. And Shishu, before it was too late, wanted to make sure that he got rid of the rot that was gathering in the palace, that he knew Shenmei was going too far, and that in the end he was loyal to the emperor and he took responsibility for his actions and for what his complacency has led to, has built towards. I didn't quite grasp Shisui's actions towards Jinshi scarring his face, but it is to do with fulfilling her mother's wishes because she does say, this is all I can do. It's to blemish his beauty. But I don't like the idea that she would do anything for her mother. But I think it was more not necessarily to avenge her mother, but to end the reasoning why this coup happened in the first place, to bring an end to this once in a generation evil that Jinshi was talking about. It's a once in a lifetime generational evil that he can't look away from. And I think that's her way of severing it, of ending it, is by fulfilling what her mother wanted before accepting her own fate, which is death. But I don't think she's dead. I don't. What is going to happen with Sure? I'm not sure. It's going to be really interesting. She is also connected to the royal family, so they can't just leave her. They can't just abandon her after everything she's gone through. So maybe she'll be given leniency and maybe allowed back into the palace. I don't entirely know, but they can't just abandon her, but they also can't punish her because they made a promise that anyone that's died once would be forgiven We also may see the newborn prince because we know that Gyokyu has had a baby boy whilst Mao Mao was away. So we might get to see the baby and we might get to see these children come back out of their slumber. But I'm not going to ramble. We're going to get into this episode and I am preparing for tears. I imagine it's going to be emotional. Oh, he's besotted. The little blush. Oh, he's so cute.
大したことない。かすり傷だ。
Oh, she's gonna touch his face. Oh my god. Oh, she's not happy.
すぐにでも縫い直したいけど、疲れて手が。わざわざ危ないところに行かないでください。人士様が怪我をすると周りが迷惑するんです。
You can talk, Mao Mao.
怪我をするつもりはなかったんだが。
I thought he was gonna hold her hand.
誰だってそうでしょう。
Oh, she's showing her care for him in her own way.
聞いてしまったからな。友人だったのか。
Yeah.
よくわかりません。
She doesn't understand how these emotions work, but they were friends.
私にとってはそれに近い関係だったと思う。ローラン、シスイとシャオラン。3人でつるんで話すのは悪くなかった。シスイがどう思っていたかはわからないけど。
You do deep down. She cared about you. She tried to keep you safe insofar as she could.
わからないままで終わってしまった。
そうですか。そうか。シスイは。
あとは頼んだから。
ここで眠らないでください。
なぜだ、疲れた。
It's not befitting your status.
ここは忌むべき場所です。
He doesn't want to leave you. Oh! Oh my god, stop!
人士様の手、こんなに冷えて。
Oh my god, stop!
私とて子供くらい哀れみます。
そうか。
Her eyes are like wavering.
死体には触れられないのではなかったか。
覚えて
They're
いや
not
がったか。
corpses.
そんなお前が長い間こういう場にいるとは思えんのだがな。
妙なところで
He's not stupid.
襲われたのか。
女性です。こいつ、他人の低層にいちいち干渉してくるのは何な
He
んだ。
doesn't want anyone to hurt you.
傷は残らないだろうな。傷は残すな。
その言葉、そのままお返ししてもよろしいでしょうか。
俺は男だ。問題ない。
人士様はそれを凌駕しております。
そんなもの知るか。
では私も知りま
Oh,
せ
they're
ん。
still
傷
holding
一つで価値がなくなるようなら、それまでのことです。
He's like a kidnapper.
傷一つで価値がなくなるような男か。顔だけのハリボテか。
No. No!
むしろ、もう少し傷があってもいいかもしれません。
Stop!
人士様は美しすぎる。
Including Mao Mao.
もっと実直なものだ。それは多分見た目の美しさよりもずっと価値
He's
があ
one
る。
of the only people that see him as more than just
前より
his
男前になったではあり
features.
ませんか。
He's like, excuse me? He's trying to restrain himself.
どうしたんですか。
状況的に我慢しようと思っていたんだが。
There's a certain frog
で
that's
すから
getting
眠い
very
のなら早
excited.
くここで
Oh! Oh my god. Oh my god.
案
Oh my
外
god.
思った以上にいけたようだ。
はこの状況。
Oh my god, is he gonna try and kiss her?
痛み止めを。
あと30分くらいなら我慢できる。
何が30分なのでしょうか。やつれた顔で何言ってんだこいつ。
He wants you.
いかん。
なんだ今の音は。
No! No! They were so close to kissing!
薬よ。
死水は毒と言わず薬と言った。 蘇った子供を陳氏様がどうするかはわからない。
From the darkness comes
私
light,
が連れてこられたのはこのためだ。
the dawning of a new beginning for these
で
children.
は一度死んだ者は見逃して
He
くださる
finally
のですね
understands the strange request.
狐につままれたようだ。
Oh, they were so close to kissing! God's sake.
人手をよこしてください。できれば水霊を。
ガオシュン、頼む。
わかりました。
She'd know how to help. She's been through it once. She did say medicine.
鈴木はまたでいいか。
はいはい。
Does she even know what she's agreeing to? She's like, yeah, yeah, sure.
子供たちが蘇ったぞ。
Oh, she knows what that means. That they weren't killed. She cared for them too, as much as Shisui did.
道具のお披露目があるんですって
らしいね。お祝い尽くしでお客さんたちも気前がいいったら、おばばもそろばん弾いて大喜びよ。
They're making so much money.
お妃様もマオマオが使えてた玉葉妃で決まって。
Oh, she is? Oh! He's so cute.
出産も無事に済み、親父は花町に戻らず、
Oh!
もともと理不尽な理由で高級を追放された
But
親
he
父だが、
delivered the
医
crown
師としての腕は
prince.
確かだ。花
And
町に
she's
返
still
し
the
たくない
crown
のも
prince,
当然
but
だ。
you know.
死の一族の処理と本来の仕事が忙しいのだろう。
He's a busy man.
私が高級で用なしになったことを意味していた。
おい、そばかせおやつくれ。
あんまり走り回るなよ。この間まで寝たきりだったんだから。
平気だっての。
His arm's doing the same thing as Sure's.
最後に残った胸羽は記憶を失い、半身にも軽く麻痺が残った。
Yeah.
それでも、あんな状態から生き返ったのは運がいいと言える。どういう理由か知らないが、先に目覚めた子供たちは、元上級妃のアードー様が4人とも引き受けてくれたらしい。
She gets to be a mother to
そ
these
して、
children.
水霊も
I'm gonna
宮廷
cry.
を引っかき回した水霊だったが、監視付きだが命まで
All
は取ら
these
れない。
motherless children
記憶を失った胸羽だけが、他の
get
こ
to
とは
have
別に
a
育てた
mother
方が
with
良かろう
Aldua.
と、花町に来
She
るこ
gets
と
to
になった
raise
わけだが、
children.
ある意味ここが一番安全で。
Oh. Sorry, that just completely got me. Childless mother gets to raise motherless children. She took them in and she's raising them as her own. She finally gets to be a mom. I know she has Jinji, but she never got to raise him. She never got to be his mother, but now she gets a chance with these. And in fact, she's taking in Sure as well because she recognizes what she's gone through and what she's suffered. She wants to help heal and help these children move on because Sure is still so young herself. Like, she's not a child, but everything she's gone through very much stems from her trauma. So she gets to stay with the children that she cares about, but she also gets a new start, a fresh start with Aldua. And Aldua wants to help heal the past, heal the trauma that they've all gone through, to give them a new start. Is he more noble than the other children? That perhaps he has more of a connection to the Shi clan, that he could be leveraged? Maybe. Because the fact that they're choosing to raise him away from the other children, that it would be safer for him outside of the palace and in a more obscure position, it makes me think that he could be like Shishu and Shenbei's nephew, that like with their deaths, he would be the next to inherit the Shi clan title. And that's why they want to remove him away from it entirely. And for him to not know his connection so that the Shi clan can just be erased and none of this like power dynamic will come back into effect because he doesn't remember. He has memory loss. So if he's kept away from the other children, he won't remember his connection. And he's also in a place where he can just be a kid without the societal pressures and expectations. I think he could technically be the next to inherit the title. So that's why they want him just removed from it entirely, so that the Shi clan cannot be rebuilt and that he cannot be leveraged for somebody else's power and gain.
勝手に食うなバカ長。本人が前の名前の響きを覚えてたから苦肉の策だけど。
Oh.
石油様。
久しぶり。
東宮のお披露目は済んだのですか？
ええ、無事にね。みんなマオマオによろしくって。
Oh, so she hasn't even got to see the baby.
シャオラン。
Oh, she wrote one for Shisui.
一言くらいあってもいいのにって。
確か私もシスイも表向きは引き抜かれて高級を出たことになってたんでしょうか。
Oh, Xiaolan thought that Mao Mao left without saying goodbye.
仕事はできるわけじゃないけど、放っておけないっていうか。
I'm so glad she came to visit and gave her Xiaolan's message.
私たちがいなくなって、湯殿で一人一生懸命に働くシャオランをなんとなく放っておけなかったみたいだ。
Oh, her words.
元気にしてる。
私は元気だよ。年季が明けて高級を出ることになりました。かんざしをくれたお妃様に気に入ってもらえて。
I'm so happy for Xiaolan, but Mama lost both her friends.
いっぱいいっぱい頑張るつもり。はあ、本当はちゃんと話して伝えたかったな。いつかまたマオマオとシスイに会いたいな。またみんなでアイス食べたいよ。
I really hope she gets to see Xiaolan again. Poor Mao Mao. It's made her realize just how much she cared for them, how dear they were to her.
シスイの死体は雪をいくらかき分けても見つからなかった。
Because she's not dead. She's not dead. That's sus as fuck.
見つからなければいい。
I hope they never find her because she's not dead, and I think Mao Mao knows that.
新しい薬いまいちピンとこないな。よーし。
No, Mao Mao!
人士様、お仕事は片付いたのですか？
He's like, absolutely fucking not. Oh, I need a minute. I need a minute. I can't stop crying. Okay, I'm locking back in. I just needed a second to like gather myself. Look at Granny's face in the background. She's like, he did say, could we continue this later? She's like, make me money.
綺麗になってる。死の一族の人間はすでにほとんど処刑されたと聞いた。領地は国の直轄になるんだっけ？木材か。紙にしてくれると嬉しいけど。
おい、俺をいないように扱うな。
すみません、つい癖で。
約束を果たしてもらおうか。
She doesn't even remember, does she?
アイスの材料を揃えてやっただろ
う。アイス？あ、かんざし。
She doesn't have it. Shisui.
あげちゃいました。
は？
春になったら見つかるかもしれません。
なんで春なんだ？
見つからないかもしれません。巡り巡ってどこかの露店にでも並ぶ。
She said it might end up in a storefront. I mean, she knows she's not dead. She's gonna sell it to start a new life.
もう一つの方の約束を果たしてもらおうか。
話は最後まで聞けでしたっけ？
そういうことだ。
はい。それではどう？
Locked in. Undivided attention.
ないんですか？
いや、あるんだが、よく考えると話すべきことはもう分かっているだろうから。
では、代わりに別のでも。
別の？
what you were doing in the caravan. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay.
何をなさっているんですか？
これで意味がわかるか。
人の唾液には毒がある場合がありますよ。
Mamao! All
お
the
前に
time.
多少の毒は効かないだろう。
Oh. Mama,
ま
I
ず
think
は
you know what
砦
he
の
wants.
続きからだ。
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh.
Are we gonna get a kiss?
やっぱり綺麗だな。
Oh my god.
お前も毒を溜めているのか。
Oh my god. Oh my god.
見ろ、お前これ
Oh my fucking god.
でかした。
What the fuck? You should die for real. What the hell?
どうしていつも邪魔が入る。
They were so
お兄ちゃん
close.
どうしたんだ？
Why? No, this is bullshit.
お疲れのようですし、ゆっくり
Dude,
お
she's
休み
gonna
くだ
kill
さい。
him for real.
わかった。休む。枕はこれを使う。
たぬき寝入りですか、人士様。
He doesn't want to get up. His frog is, you know.
足がしびれるな。
Gotta wait for the frog to calm down first. They're so fucking cute. Oh, he is actually sleeping now. Oh, they really baited us with another kiss and it didn't happen. Raging.
えってセミ？
古い時代によく作られた玉製のだよ。
Who else would point out a bug?
買うのかい？
お金あんまりないの。
なら触らないでく
Look
れ。
how long her
物々
hair is.
交換ならどう？
なんだこりゃ。この辺でお目にかかれる代物じゃねえぞ。
Oh my god, she's not dead.
どう？
嬢ちゃん、こいつをどこで。あ、いや、交渉成立だ。
綺麗。私の名前タマモって言うんだよ。
玉の
Tamamo.
玉と海の藻で玉もかい。海の寵愛でも受けそうな名前だな。
そうだね。
But she's reborn.
海の向こうとか面白そうだよね。
She's going elsewhere.
じゃあ、ありがとうね。
I'm so happy for her. I knew she wasn't dead. I fucking called it. The foreshadowing was too strong. I knew it. I called it. I said that there was too much foreshadowing about selling this fucking hair stick. I knew I'd cry. I knew I would cry so goddamn much. And it's solely because she's getting to start a new life. She's getting to be who she's always wanted to be. And she's now no longer Shisui. She's completely forsaken it. But it's the fact that the Mamao in her name is almost like an homage to Mamao. It's her way of remembering her friend. It was just Mamao not being able to say goodbye to Xiaolan and then having lost like 2 of her friends and feeling alone again. It just broke me. This whole like series has been so good in emphasizing their friendship and their dynamic, and it's been the most enjoyable part of series 2 is the little friendship trio that emerged. So to have it broken apart and they're all going their separate ways was just heart-wrenching. Xiaolan finally got another job. She was able to actually secure something, so I'm happy for her, but I'm just sad for Mao Mao that she never got to say goodbye to her, but she's still wearing Mao Mao's bows because it's emphasizing their ties and their connection. And then we see Shisui again. She has the hair stick and she's selling it and she's going to start a new life across the water. And she's got a name that has Mao Mao in it as an homage to her friend, the girl that saved her life, to her friendship giving her purpose, and for Mao Mao seeing the real her, who she really was, and just how much that connection meant between them, that she honored Shisui's final wish to her, which was to stay with the children to ensure that they weren't left alone and that they were brought back. And then Aldua taking the children in and Sure giving them a new life, a new beginning. I'm so mad at that near kiss. We had 2 near kisses and then they were like, haha, you're gonna have to wait till series 3. I'm so pissed. I'm so angry. I wanted a kiss. We got intimacy, but we didn't get a kiss. And I'm just not happy about that. I'm not happy. I'm raging. I'm angry. But I want to know what's gonna happen with Island and Isla because we haven't seen Isla since all this went down. So I feel like that's maybe gonna have to come into play in series 3 because they've just coincidentally not mentioned anything about that. So I think this could be like a plot point we delve into later on. And then we have Gyokyu becoming Empress now. She's had a little boy. He is the crown prince. I think that's gonna have to come out at some point because like he's going on about how he's not the crown prince anymore, but he is. He is. It's going to have to come into effect. It can't just be ignored, but I'm glad that Lumen has been forgiven and is allowed back into the Rear Palace because he can do so much good there. He can help so many people and he helped Gyokyu safely deliver her baby. And we also have Mao Mao returning to the Pleasure District. So I wonder how that's going to come into effect for series 3, if she will end up going back to the Rear Palace or if maybe she operates from outside but gets called in when needed. I'm not sure. I feel like she will end up going back to the Rear Palace at some point. There's no way that she's just going to stay permanently at the Pleasure District, but it was really funny that we had Granny listening at the door because I think she was expecting something to happen and was disappointed when it wasn't. We also got to see the 3 princesses because we haven't seen them at all this series. We saw Mei Mei at the beginning of series 2, but we didn't see any of the others. And then we didn't see Mei Mei again. So it was nice to kind of get them again and talking about how like they're making so much money now with the Crown Prince's celebrations and the announcement of his birth and the showcasing of him. But yeah, series 3 is going to be very interesting. We're going to obviously see more intimacy between Mao Mao and Jinshi, especially now that she knows who he is. And she'll not be able to deny her connection to her family name for much longer. I would have liked for us to have seen Lacan interact with Mao Mao, but makes sense that it's not necessarily what Mao Mao would want. I hope in series 3 we do get to see Mao Mao interact with her brother. That would be interesting because he's a very curious figure. I find him quite fascinating, so I'd like to see them like come into contact with each other. I also want Pyron to finally have her happy ending. I don't know if we're going to see that because that was a big part of like series 1. I don't know if they're going to continue that in series 3, but I hope so. I'm just so glad that Shisui gets to live her life free of the burden and she looks so happy and just it means so much that she finally gets to be who she's always wanted to be. That she gets her happy ending. And she's died once and now she's risen. This series, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I don't know how series 3 is going to top it, but series 3 is 100% going to. Without a shadow of a doubt. I didn't expect to cry so much, but again, it is just that connection between the 3 of them and they're all going in different directions. They've all parted from each other. And seeing Mao Mao cry over Xiaolan's note is such a big thing for Mao Mao. She's so emotionally reserved. So for that to have got to her is Mao Mao learning and growing and changing. She says that she doesn't fully understand what it means to be human in terms of their emotions, but she is showing that she is getting it. She understands it. She does when it comes to Jinshi now. She understands what he's intending and showing her. And she understands it in relation to Shisui and Xiaolan, even going so far as to admit that Shisui would be what she would consider a friend. This was more emotional than I anticipated it to be. I'm still really mad that we didn't get a kiss though, but I'm so glad that this ended in such like a happy way, but there's still so many potential issues that could crop up in series 3. I don't know how it's going to go down with Gyokyu becoming empress, whether that's going to create some internal strife. Gyokyu's position will end up needing to be replaced by someone else high ranking. So does Shisui, because we're now down to 2. We're down to Lihua and Lishu, because Shisui, aka Lolan, left, and Gyokyu, she becomes empress. She's no longer a high-ranking concubine. So series 3 will probably delve into him taking more high-ranking concubines and how that kind of plays into internal friction and tension, potentially. We also have Island and Isla and the whole trade with Shishu and their meetings with Shishu and the Fifers coming from the west. That hasn't been dealt with, so that's going to have to come back into effect. Lihua is pregnant, so she may then give birth in series 3. We haven't seen Lihua in a while, so she may end up having her baby then. But yeah, there's so much to look forward to, so many plots that have been not fully concluded. I hope we see Xiaolan again, though. I hope that's not Xiaolan completely gone. I would like to see Mao Mao and Xiaolan reunited, at least for like an episode where they get to catch up and see how each other's lives are going. But I think this will be the last we see of Shisui. She's going across the sea because she knows that there's nothing for her here anymore, and that to have a complete fresh start, she needs to leave this all behind, and more power to her. I hope she gets the life that she's always wanted with her Jade's Takada, and she gets to indulge in her love and joy and pleasure of insects. I just wish her nothing but the best. I think in terms of favorite characters, she's like up there for me as being like my top 5. If not, no, she's not number 1. I feel like Mao Mao is always going to be number 1, but I think Shisui and Mao Mao for me are like tied number 1. Yeah, I think they're tied for me. I can't pick between them because I love them both, but I think Shisui is like best girl, top girl. What a journey. What a journey. I can't wait to see series 3 in October. And thank you everyone for being on this journey with me. It has been an amazing ride, and it's going to be very enjoyable and very fun to see what this story has in store for us in a couple of months. I can't wait for you to join me for series 3. We do have other reacts on the channel, so I hope you guys do continue to stay, as there is a lot of interesting, fun content still to come. We also have Demon Slayer starting after Apothecary Diaries, so I hope you are looking forward to that too. But thank you so much for watching, and until October, bye!